Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Hey, word up, keep the pocket fat, y'all know the flavor. Word up, big shout to my man Jake, big shout to my man B.O.
I knew about B.O. from, Ultramagnetic MCs. I remember him from Tim Dog, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember that. I remember those days. I remember hearing his name in the air, when they said, like, he was like a bully in the hip-hop. Like, he was a Devo. He was the go-to guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the guy that he was in them clubs, Latin Quarters. You know what I'm saying? He was in a lot of the clubs downtown. Now, in my era of Zulu Nation, growing up in Zulu Nation.
Zulu Nation anniversary, 20th anniversary. Got a brother has been on the nation for a long time. His name is B.O. What's up, my brother?
Peace, brother. How you doing?
How you doing? Happy anniversary to you.
Happy anniversary to you too.
All right, where have you been? We ain't seen you in a while.
Traveling, building the brothers, training with the brothers. Got Shaka Zulus all over the United States. In Atlanta and Miami and DC, we've been training, trying to get the brothers right, keep them in school or make them get 9 to 5s. That's what we're doing as far as the nation. Then this here for the homeless. Doing this here tonight.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Definitely just honored to be here. There's a lot of people in the house, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the house.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we can actually put this all on tape off our video music box, Ralph's looking out on the whole night.
Thank you for that. But you definitely put this on tape with that. There won't be no violence here tonight.
Oh, no, of course
it's all
not.
about peace and unity.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying? So we like that to get taped, because they only come around and tape us when we acting wild.
We was having a black tie party that night. I pull up on the block and see he had the Lex and he had the Honda wagon. He had the big Yukon two-door shit. That was what was up back then. He like, yo, we gonna see who got the hottest shit out tonight at the party. He had a party going on that night for his birthday. Him, Tone, and B.O.
This party was big for all of us, you know what I'm saying? It was big for me because my birthday is B.O.'s birthday. It's big for him. But for C, it was even bigger because for him to see his niggas shine was important. I'm like, you saw the excitement in him.
I remember being a teenager, growing up in Flatbush, Brooklyn, hearing stories about this dude named Haitian Jack that was like a ghost. But the rumors about him made him seem so real. You would hear about him coming through and robbing drug dealers and niggas tucking they shit. And even wilder stories about how he was extorting the Fugees and people like Wyclef and even Busta Rhymes. But little did I know, as I would watch shit like Video Music Box religiously every day, every once in a while on the show, I would get a courtside view of somebody that was doing the exact same thing from the Bronx. And now that I could look at it decades later, Jack, though he had an army under him with reported guys like Jimmy Henchman coming from under his wing, B.O. had a nation. Yo, what up though? It's your ace Popalot. Salute the almighty mob. We back in the city and we headed to the BX. Y'all meet us in Bronx River. But we gonna stop on Cortland to get some money though. In an article titled Hip Hop War, written by Peter Noel on April the 24th of 2001, and published by the Village Voice, would read, while at Mosque number 7, Muhammad summons groups such as A Tribe Called Quest, Rex and Effect, and African Bambaata's Zulu Nation to his 127th Street Temple to settle differences. 4 years ago, shortly before Zulu Nation chief B.O. was gunned down in the Bronx, Muhammad said that B.O., a reputed street thug, accepted a challenge from him to turn his life around, going on to say that one of the toughest days of his hip-hop ministry was preaching at B.O.'s funeral. When we talk about titans and heavyweights or thugs just moving shit around in the rap game, in the 1990s, B.O. or Bug Out was him. Now, if you can go back some, you might have heard about or be familiar with B.O. And if you was even outside, especially in those times in New York City in the early 90s to mid 90s, in the hot spots of the city, you might even got searched by him or his team. But even if not, some of you guys might have even heard him mentioned by guys like Hassan Campbell, a lot of times in those same stories, also referencing the notorious Bronx River houses, a place where B.O. is considered a legend. Bronx River, one of the more infamous housing projects in the city, is located in the Soundview section of the Bronx. The low-income housing project that would be built in 1951 consists of 9 14-story buildings with 1,260 apartments. Though there's not nearly enough published about him in the sprinkles that you can find online, the first thing that's probably going to stand out to you is how respected and feared B.O. was. In a random online post paying tribute to B.O., a random commenter would write, "Many may say B.O. was feared, grimy, etc., but I'ma differ. B.O. was one of the realest niggas I ever knew. B.O. was loyal, loved, and if he was with you, he was ready to die for you." And it also could be said that if he didn't have love for you, you would feel that side. And though, like I said earlier, it's not much publicized about him, most of the things you can find are going to be related to Pistol Pete. But in almost everything, and I mean everything, you're going to find some reference to how he was a tough guy or a thug or a goon. And though the Bronx is a big borough, when you are somebody, that should just make any city small. And B.O. was said to be extremely close and even mentioned to get money with another legend to come out of the Bronx that some of us may know, Carlton Hines. Some of us are familiar with Carlton as one of the biggest what-if stories. But for those listening that are not, Carlton Hines or Duncan Hines or C-Town can only be explained as a can't-miss NBA prospect that got caught up in the streets. Now standing at 6'5" and 190 pounds, in Carlton Hines' junior year of high school at MCI, or Maine Central Institute, he would go on to average 25.6 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 4.8 assists for a team that would go 22-5, shooting 53% from the field that season, with his high games being 39 points in one game, 16 rebounds in another, and 16 assists in another game, with his coach at the time, Paul Pellegrini, saying, "Carlton is an intense competitor. His skills have grown from purely a power inside game to now include excellent off-guard tools. He was second in three-point shooting, 48%, as well as second in assists, and he had bird-like abilities to see the game 2 and 3 passes ahead." His coach was comparing him to Larry Bird as a junior. But making it off Cortlandt Avenue would be too hard for Carlton, with him eventually going on to run what they say is a $50,000 a day drug operation. Carlton and B.O. was said to be good friends, and Carlton would even be killed on his way to a party that he would be having with B.O. and another friend of theirs by the name of Tone. And it would be the murder of Carlton Hines in 1994 that would put B.O. smack dab in the middle of a war with another up-and-coming gangster from the Bronx, Peter Pistol Pete Rollup. Now, accounts vary exactly to how the beef between Carlton Hines and Pistol Pete was sparked, with one of the scenarios explaining the two groups being at a hot spot for young people at the time called the Skate Key. The story would have Pistol Pete approaching Carlton Hines to introduce himself, with Carlton Hines saying, "Who the fuck are you?" But at that time, to be honest, Pistol Pete is just described as a person that probably would have just killed Carlton Hines because he was getting money. As in one article that I read doing research for this story, they would say he just wanted B.O. dead because he was a local tough dude and he knew he would get points for it. No matter how it would play out, it would end up putting 2 heavyweights and 3 if you include Carlton Hines and a deadly rivalry. Now, though B.O. was getting money in the streets, he was also closely associated with one of the biggest groups to come out of the hip-hop movement. Though now disgraced with the actions of Afrika Bambaataa, at one point in time, particularly the early 90s and the 80s, the Zulu Nation was one of the biggest groups, if not the biggest, in hip-hop, definitely in New York, and had a supreme influence. And B.O. would go on to be chief of that group. And with that title, he would gain enormous power because he would literally have an army at his hands. An army that some could say included Hassan Campbell. And it would be his affiliation with Zulu Nation that would put his hands directly on the rap game, with him having connections to various artists of the time, Showbiz and AG, Ultramagnetic MCs, Tim Dog, who would make some noise coming out of the Bronx with the song titled Fuck Compton, while also providing somewhat protection to artists coming over from the West Coast at that time, guys like Ice-T and Ice Cube, who was making runs in New York City right around the mid-90s after his breakup with NWA. He would be said to be involved in a widely publicized incident between a Tribe Called Quest and Rex and Effect, where Q-Tip would end up with a mysterious black eye. And it would be said that B.O. was one of the main people putting pressure on Rex and Effect behind that. And he was said to be extorting pretty much everyone from entertainers to restaurants to drug dealers. He would be murdered by Pistol Pete associate, who actually Pistol Pete would turn on and kill himself, David Twin Mullins, in 1995 at the Castle Hill Projects. Some people would say it was a $50,000 hit on B.O.'s head from the connection of Sex Money Murder, a person he was said to be also extorting, which I wouldn't rule that out to be a possibility. But if I had to put my money down, I'm going to go with Pistol Pete was definitely under the assumption that B.O. had to go after he murdered B.O.'s close friend, Carlton Hines. And like that random comment that I would read about him earlier, where it would say, if B.O. was with you, he was ready to die for you. A lot of people would say that he was hell-bent on revenge for the murder of Carlton Hines. Now, y'all make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. If y'all was around at that time, Bronx River, Cortland, outside, Latin Quarters, Skate Key, y'all definitely get downstairs in the comment box. If y'all have any run-ins with B.O., any info on him, y'all definitely tap in below. Definitely make sure y'all subscribe, share, like. Hit me directly on Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Y'all let me know what I got wrong, what I missed, what I need to be covering, what we should be talking about next, where we need to head to, what gangsters I haven't tapped in on, all of that. And until the next time, y'all know the routine. Shades Popalot. Salute the almighty mob.